You're probably organizing your home the wrong way. Wait, this isn't a personal attack. The truth is, most people think organizing is just about making everything look cute and minimalist, when in reality, the problem runs much deeper. The right kind of organization isn't about turning your home into a magazine catalog, but about creating a space that actually works for your lifestyle. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why the way you've been organizing your home might actually be holding you back. And what to do to change that in a practical, realistic way, without losing your mind in the process. Have you ever noticed how we keep accumulating things, thinking we'll use them someday? That toaster you haven't touched in a year, the blender that promised perfect smoothies, or the mixer that's only been out of the box twice? Exactly. The first mistake most people make is leaving all that stuff out in the open, taking up space, creating visual clutter, and giving a false sense of constant mess. And it's not that you're not an organized person. The problem is that you're organizing things that shouldn't even be visible. If you use an appliance every day, great, it can stay on the counter. But if you only touch it once a week, think about putting it away. The secret is to keep what's essential accessible and hide what's occasional. Now think with me. When was the last time you actually needed that juicer that takes up half your countertop? Or that air fryer that makes soggy fries? It's not about getting rid of everything, but about choosing what stays visible. Keeping only what's part of your daily routine completely transforms the space. The kitchen, for example, feels cleaner, lighter, and even more pleasant to use. And that applies to any room. The same principle works for the living room, bedroom, or bathroom. If you don't use something every day, store it away. It's simple, but it's liberating. Here's something few people talk about. Closed storage is gold. A lot of people love open shelving, and they can indeed look beautiful when used with intention. But what usually happens is that they become dumping grounds for visual clutter, stacked books, random travel souvenirs, colorful utensils, all on display, all competing for attention. The result? A home that looks disorganized even when everything is technically in its place. The secret is to use open shelves only to display what's beautiful, functional, or meaningful, and hide the rest. That's not hiding mess. It's eliminating visual noise that tires the eyes. A closed cabinet, a box with a lid, a basket with an attractive cover. All of these help your mind relax. Because yes, visual clutter equals mental fatigue. By the way, tell me in the comments, are you team open shelves or closed cabinets? I want to know, because this is an eternal debate in the world of interior design. And since we're talking about habits, here's a truth no one likes to admit. You're not going to completely change the way you live. You might try, but if your current self leaves the keys on the counter, your future organized self will want to do the same. And that's okay. The best way to stay organized is to accept your habits and create solutions around them. Instead of forcing a behavior change, adapt your space. Create what I call drop zones, strategic spots where you naturally place things when you get home. A hook for keys by the door, a tray for glasses and wallet, a nice basket for shoes. This way, you build a system that works effortlessly. And effortless organization is true luxury. This also applies to the bedroom. If you tend to throw clothes over the chair, accept it and place a nice coat rack or clothing stand where those clothes always land. It's easier to adapt the environment than to try to become a completely different person overnight. Organization isn't about being someone else, it's about making life easier for the person you already are. Now let's talk about a powerful visual trick, anchoring objects. You know when you look at a space and it just feels right, balanced? That happens when objects have a point of reference. Trays, stacked books, decorative boards, All of these act as bases for other items. Instead of scattering things randomly, group them. For example, place olive oil, salt, and pepper on a tray in the kitchen, perfumes and creams on one in the bathroom, keys and glasses on a small base at the entryway. This creates a sense of intentionality, even if you own only a few objects. Plus, it establishes natural limits. If the tray's space is full, it's time to reassess what's there. The ideal organization system is one that sets limits without you having to think about them all the time. And it's not just an aesthetic matter, it's psychological. When everything has its place, the brain understands that the environment is under control. Without these anchor points, the space feels like it's floating without structure, which unconsciously causes stress. It's like a living room missing a rug. You might not notice it immediately, but something feels off. Speaking of structure, let's move on to another pillar of organization that few people value: organizers. Baskets, boxes, trays, dividers. They're the real unsung heroes of the home. Many people think it's silly to spend money on them, but the difference they make is incredible. Besides defining spaces, they prevent clutter and make your home more functional. Think about how much easier it is to stay tidy when everything has its own territory. One box for cleaning products, another for cables and chargers, a tray for papers. When there are physical boundaries, chaos doesn't spread. And you know what's even better? It doesn't have to be expensive. Discount stores and even supermarkets sell all kinds of baskets and organizers. Choose ones that match your style: acrylic, wicker, plastic, fabric. The important thing is that they make sense for you. If the organizer is visible, invest in something aesthetically pleasing. If it's inside a cabinet, prioritize functionality. The point is, there's no organization without physical boundaries. And these objects create exactly that. But of course, before organizing, it's good to take a critical look at your things. We often want to keep everything, and that's a huge mistake. Organized clutter is still clutter. So before putting things into boxes, ask yourself, do I really use this? Does it make a difference in my life? Or is it just here, out of habit? Don't be afraid to let go. Fewer things mean less maintenance, less stress, and more visual clarity. Now, an important reflection. Why do we feel so guilty for not being able to keep everything perfect? A home isn't a showroom. It's a living space where real life happens. Having a pile of clothes sometimes or a counter with a few things out of place isn't failure. It's real life. True organization is the kind that serves you, not social media aesthetics. Your home should be functional, comfortable, and authentic, not a stage set. So instead of trying to become a super organized version of yourself who wakes up at 6 in the morning and folds sheets with surgical precision, how about being a version of you that finds balance? A you that understands that an organized home is one that breathes, that has room to live, but also structure to function. And speaking of sheets, have you noticed how small details make a huge difference in the feeling of a well-cared-for home? Soft bed linens, fragrant towels, gentle lighting. Organization isn't just about storing things, it's about creating harmony. And that harmony comes from conscious choices. Less excess, more purpose. A well-organized home isn't cold. It's cozy because it has space for what truly matters. And let me ask you, which part of your home causes you the most visual stress today? The kitchen? The closet? The living room? Tell me in the comments. Maybe the first step toward change is simply recognizing where the chaos bothers you most. I'll read every comment. In the end, the secret to organization is simple, but it requires honesty. Stop trying to fit into systems that have nothing to do with you. Stop fighting against your nature. Work with what you already do. If you always drop your keys in the same spot, turn that spot into a beautiful, functional area. If you tend to pile things on the counter, create a visual boundary. If you hate folding clothes, use more hangers. Good organization is the one that works even on your worst days. And remember, an organized home isn't a lifeless home. It's a home that understands you, that embraces you, that makes your day easier instead of heavier. Because in the end, organizing your home is organizing your mind. And maybe that's why when we put things in their right place, it feels like the whole world becomes a little lighter. So before running out to buy more boxes, shelves, and dividers, make a pact with yourself. Organize to live better, not to look more productive. Organize to breathe, not to impress. And if there's one thing you should take away from this video, let it be this. The perfect organization isn't the one that looks good. It's the one that works well.